Welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. In today's episode, our topic will be dealing with locking down the Amazon Echo for your children or grandchildren or whatever the case may be. If you have young ones, if you're a parent, grandparent, the like, a guardian, and you have young people in the house, you may be concerned about what the Amazon Echo might be able to play, maybe inappropriate music or videos if you have the Echo Show. So we're going to talk about locking down the Amazon Echo and limiting access and parental features that are added. But before we get into the details of how all that works, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then I will be right back. This episode is brought to you by the New Vision program at Goodwill. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission services help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello, welcome to the Echo Tips podcast again, and it's good to have you back with us. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago, today's episode is going to be dealing with parental settings for the Amazon Echo, or anybody that has young people in the house, things you might want to limit access to and things like that. And I remember in the early days when the Echo first came out and you didn't have hardly any restrictions, kids ordering doll houses and Xboxes and things from their grandparents' Amazon Echo or something like that. So it got a little crazy. But before I get into the little details, I'd just like to mention, especially for our new listeners, a little bit about myself. I'm David Ward, an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill in Southwestern Virginia. And it's good to have new listeners, and if you've been listening for a while, it's good to have you all back with us as well. And we really appreciate your support, by the way. We're coming up on 50,000 listens to our slightly over 100 episodes, and we really appreciate your support. We'd love to hear your feedback at info@goodwillvalleys.com, our Facebook or Twitter accounts, and just topics you might feel that you would like to be addressed or talked about in the future. So feel free to put those feelers out to us, and please, if you can, follow us on your podcast player of choice or subscribe. Okay, so let's get right into this nitty-gritty. Now, for those that might have an Echo in the room, you might want to shut off its ears because I'm going to be using the A-Lady name quite a bit, and I have mine here in the studio currently shut off so it doesn't chime up. But first off, restrictions. So the nuclear option, probably the best option for parents, is going to be called free time. But free time is a setting that is device by device for your Echoes, and it takes care of a whole swath of these things. Now, that's not to say that a la carte throughout the house, maybe you got an Echo in the kitchen or something, a place that's well monitored by you, you can't shut off purchasing. You can. Or you can add a PIN code lockout. Or you could do this, or you could do that. You could turn on the explicit filters. Those things are optionally available, so that's not a problem. But if you really are thinking of putting one in the kids' room or the playroom, and you really just want to lock it down 10 ways from Sunday, free time is the feature for you. So let's break that down. How do you find that? Well, the easiest thing to do is to go to your A-Lady app. Okay, I'm going to start saying the actual name now, so hopefully you all had a chance to mute your Echoes. The Alexa app. You're going to go to the menu option in the top left corner. You're going to tap on that. It's going to slide out. You're going to go down to Settings, and then you're going to go to a button that says Device Settings. Now, bear in mind, some of these directions are slightly different if you're using the web interface, alexa.amazon.com, versus the actual app. And I would encourage you probably to use the app on a smartphone or a tablet because you get a few more of the features surfaced there that aren't on the website, namely phone calling and some other things that you can do with the Echo. So once you are there and you tap on devices, it will take you to the next listing, which is all your Echoes and your Echo shows and your Fire TVs and I think even your Fire tablets. But you're going to want to find the Echo that you want to control, the kids Echo. Maybe you even designated it, given it a name like that. You're going to tap on that device. Now, once you're on that particular Echo, you have a wealth of things you can set for that particular Echo and that Echo only. That includes alarm volume, time zone, geographical location. But the thing you're looking for is you're going to scroll down to free time, tap on free time. Now on the next page for free time, you're going to have a brief description of what it does. You're also going to have maybe, I think, a button about privacy settings and how parents can control privacy things related with their kids. You might want to peruse that. I'm not going to touch on that in this episode. But you'll see in the top right corner a toggle on and off to turn free time on for this particular Echo. So you're going to turn it on. And that's going to take you through a step-by-step tutorial. I think it's 2, 3, 4 pages long, where you're going to designate this is Johnny's Echo, this is little Johnny's Echo, or this is little Peggy Sue's Echo. Okay, the kid's name probably. You don't have to give it a kid's name. I mean, obviously it's in the main playroom. You can say the playroom Echo or whatever. But you give it a name, and you're going to follow this step by step. Now, I believe there's a verification process where it might send you a text message or ask you to retype in your password as the parent to make sure that you're the one that's setting this up. So you're going to want to do that. And once you're done, you'll probably hear the Echo that you just set up, if you're next to it, chime, and it's going to say now it's basically configured for this, and with little Johnny, you'd like to hear what little Johnny can do with it, and that kind of thing. And it'll take you through games and music and stuff like that. Now, I said this was the nuclear option, and I said that with good reason, because out of the box, once you enable this feature, it disables purchasing. It turns on the explicit filters for music and video. So basically, it locks it out from any kind of higher adult level content. I think anything pretty much the TV viewing, you'd have to double check me, but I think PG or something like that. You can go in and tailor it, of course, as well. And we're going to talk about that basically now. So once you got that turned on, you can't really, and in fact, I can even demonstrate that. I don't have this mic'd very well, but I'm going to turn the ears on my Echo, and I'll say, Alexa, play 90s alternative explicit station.
Playing 90s alternative explicit music on Amazon Music. Sorry, something went wrong.
Okay, so you see immediately it didn't work. Now, I don't know if that's the declaration it should typically say, but it wouldn't play it, basically. So that gives you a little insight. So let's go through this one by one. If you still have your app open, you're going to want to follow along here. So we go back to that initial toggle screen where you toggle on and off, and now you're going to see a listing where you have this enabled for certain children. And I named mine Johnny here, so you tap on Johnny, and then you get an individual management console as a parent to manage Johnny's Echo. Now here you have some pretty cool options right at the top. You got pause device, so let's say his time for electronic devices today, his screen time or whatever is up. You hit that button, and until you hit it again, little Johnny can't do anything on his Echo. You can hit the resume button to resume it, okay, of course, obviously. I will mention, though, most of these pause resume functionalities exclude alarms or reminders. So if you tell Johnny you have a repeating alarm every night at 7:30, it's time to do your homework, that reminder will continue to go off even if you pause his Echo. He just won't be able to, do anything like play games or something until you resume. And that also allows it to continue to function as an alarm clock for little Johnny in the morning, too. Okay, that gets on to the more sophisticated setting here, which is, I'm going to jump down one step below the next item, which is set daily time limits. So instead of manually stopping it and starting it, you can say between 9 o'clock at night and 6 in the morning when Johnny's supposed to be in bed, he can't be asking the Echo in the middle of the night jokes and stuff like that. So you can set that up as well. Now jumping back up to this button, you can add content. So as I mentioned, by default, it filters. So I'm going to tap on Add Content here on the app, and you're going to see that it bifurcates it into different categories. You got videos, music, books, Audible books. So like there's kids audio books on Audible, one of the world's largest audiobook companies owned by Amazon. And there at the very end, you'll have to scroll over. You got Alexa skills. So by default, you just can't play any skill on the Echo. I think it might allow for basic kids games or something out of the gate, but you can go in here and add different things. Now, and additionally, it also mentions here apps. I don't know if that's particularly directly applicable to some of these devices, but if you think about the Echo Show with the screen, it might be more applicable towards, like TV things, like it says here like Disney Plus, but I don't know for certain if Disney Plus, I guess it must have a video functionality on the Echo Show, so that's kind of interesting. So different things you can tailor here and add or approve. Now, additionally, don't think it's here under Add Content. No, it's not under Add Content. We'll get to it here in a second. That's the communications features. Okay, so we continue to scroll down this page. It mentions your child's devices, and here it says that this applies to the Echo set up by David, that being me. And then you have a smart home account controls. I'm not too sure exactly. I haven't messed with that too much. And you have an additional option down here to manage music settings and things like that. So it just gives you a little idea of some of the things that you can filter. Now, as I mentioned it, and we just demoed it, explicit lyric filters and things like that. So that gives you a little idea here. Now, if you want to get a little more nitty-gritty, under your child's device, I have the one here that says David's Echo Show, which is the device I paired with little Johnny. I'm going to tap on that, and this gives me some additional options. It's kind of hidden down in there. And this is where you can customize some different things like the explicit lyric filters, video filters, most of that, you don't really need to worry about. But the one that you might be curious about here is communication. So you can tailor that maybe he can use the video conferencing thing with maybe his buddies from school to do homework or something like that, or he can't. Or he can call grandma and grandpa, but he can't, or he can't. So under that communication section, you can change calling and messaging options, different things like that. It even lists here the drop-in feature. I'm not too sure if that means coming or going, but I would imagine, if you want to check in on little Johnny and see, is he really doing his homework? Hey, you doing your homework? You can, or something like that. So it just gives you a little idea of some of these features, and it's pretty robust. So pretty cool. Anyway, I just thought we'd mention that today. It might be a real boon to you parents, enabling that functionality, and I hope that it helps. So especially with the coronavirus and so many other things, where many people are spending a lot of time at home, or kids are taking schooling at home, this might be something really helpful for you parents. Well, it's time to turn your microphones back on, start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. Oh, I almost forgot. If you do have an Echo Show with a screen, you can also turn on this free time on the device. You would just swipe from the top down, tap on Settings, and then go to Free Time, and you could follow these same procedures. Okay, so time to turn on your microphone, start practicing some of the many things you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program at Goodwill, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. In conclusion, let me tell you a thing or two. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and it is also made possible in part by a grant from Community Foundation serving Western Virginia. And there's more. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. For more information, check out our website at goodwillvalleys.com/newvision, with no spaces. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission programs help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Thanks for listening.